right, you're still watching AM Sports coming to you from Inter Sports 24. Time for us to discuss, so many interesting things now. I think it's going to be a discussion around sports in general. Then we'll touch a little bit on table tennis, swimming, and some other interesting topics on the show today. We're honored to have a five-time Olympian. In fact, she became the second Nigerian woman after Marion Yali, to appear at the Olympics 5 times. This woman won gold several times when it comes to the singles and the doubles event at the All African Games. And of course, you can keep saying, and saying so many things about her, but give it to her. Give her flowers. No other person than our star, Bose Kaffo. Many thanks for joining us on AM Sports today.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, quite beautiful. I know, it's not really going to be, but there's no way we bring, a former table tennis star to the studio and we don't get to start off with, that beautiful career from the early 90s to, the late 2000s. We still saw you, I think 2008 was the last participation at the Olympics.
Yes.
How was it for you that time, representing Nigeria and appearing at the Olympics for 5 times? You went to so many African games, I think 7 or thereabouts, and of course you won several medals, no less than 15. That's huge for Nigeria. How was it for you then?
Well, over then, it was just like any other athletes you have now, that you just want to participate and they want to win. And one thing that I realized as an athlete then was the ability to be involved in a duel. And you don't know anything about dueling until you actually elevate yourself in that performance aspect, and you realize that competing is actually a dueling stage. And it was so difficult because in Africa we have, up to now, we have the Egyptians. They are not relenting.
Yes.
The Tunisians, the Algerians, and now we have some West Africans that are living in Europe, and they have the European mentality, and they are actually good. And then you have some guys from South Africa. You have Ugandans, the Botswanans. There are so many. Then we need to often increase our tenacity whenever we have to play them, regardless of the fact that some of us, we don't really have that the ability, the capability to compete with the likes of the Egyptians, because they train, they play like the European. They go for training tours in China, and we don't have that privilege. So most of us that stayed abroad, that played abroad, we were actually the ones that we had to make sure we win. So we were just like soldiers that when you go to war, all we want to do is to come back victorious. And I thank God that over those times we were able to do that.
All right, quite beautiful. One of the things that people talk about is, these days, when we have our athletes, when they are done with sports,
Yeah.
they barely have something to fall back to.
Okay.
But, I'm happy that you're a very good example. Now you wear so many caps. You're a sports scientist, you'll be with the Swimming Federation and loads of that. Tell us about your involvement with all those, bodies now.
Yes, first I would say I'm so grateful to God and to be a Nigerian, to have come through a lot of people. When we talk about who Bose Kaffo is, you talk about who those people who made my life possible. We have to look at the ways sometimes we want to look at how some people behaved. Maybe it wasn't that complacent, we don't like it, but it was the pathway that I actually took on my own to where I am and where I want to be. Because when you talk about the involvement in every sport, when I was an athlete, an active athlete, I was opportune to be given a scholarship at the age of 15.
Wow.
And
Those
then,
days.
yes, on the Nigerian sports, and it was actually the Nigerian Sport Trust Fund. And that was in 1987 that every athlete that won a medal at the African level should be given a scholarship to study at any level. So I was among those. I was the youngest, and I won a bronze medal then in the Nigerian team, and I was a bona fide to that, and from there I started having that interest, and even if I don't, you have the likes of Cecilia Ariye, Dr. Cecilia Ariye now, if not professor. She was a table tennis player. She wasn't Bose come, and they nicknamed me then, like, Ishon, come here. Are you not going to go to school? Let me know what you know about. Tell me what you know about. Tell me. So you have those people that will be pushing you. So people don't know that you have people. Kubra Towolabi, she was in the university there, University of Lagos, and you have Yaba Komo from Ibadan. So you have people around you that they believe if you can get something out, you will actually exit. So I went further, and when I went out for my professional career, and one of my contracts then, I could remember very well, was that I would like to study, and they look at my age and they prefer that, okay, it will be even better if you come in as a student, and you know the contract was a bit balanced, the monetary part of it, and when I'm not doing anything, I can be involved in French and other things, and that was how I got my interest in academics. And okay, what do you want to do? Then we had the interest on Microsoft, and then it was the big thing, and then sport was not really. But anywhere I go, I will write what I know. Who are you? I will be writing this. I can't go into sport, and it was difficult because when you give your life to a particular thing, diverting will be another way. So I was able to do that, but little by little, piecemeal. It's not that I jumped into it. I was so opportune, and it wasn't that it's like Rosie. You have one. You have that. I have to go through.
And you're here now.
And I'm here now. So being involved in anything like in swimming is because I know about the analytical part of swimming.
Beautiful.
And in fact, any sport, as a sports scientist, and if you look at, if you are a sports scientist, I don't base myself on table tennis. In fact, I am one of the best coaches you can have in the world. When you pick two, you pick me there. But I'm not working in table tennis under the International Table Tennis Federation. So we were trained, and I became the best. So what they know I can do, they know I can do it. When the International Table Tennis Federation want to invite me, I will be invited to go away to train the national team, male team, and I will bring the report that, and all those countries, they are doing well. So coming back to what I can do outside table tennis, give it a try. Any sport. In 2016, I was the performance analyst for the Nigerian team, and I was pushed into the disability. And if you want to know well, I have been studying disability analytics in clinical way. That is the amputees, the osteoporosis. So I have to make them work. They might not be able to work well. So you do that clinically, and you do that through biomechanics. And the biomechanics of sport and clinical is so hard that you must make a mechanical component into your body, and they can work outside your normal body. So to come home and be doing sport and put it into sport is something like I can wake up and do it.
That's beautiful.
So in para swimming, I'm yet to do something. We are yet to do something.
Okay.
Because para swimming, you look at the lives of the disability. It is a life that in Nigeria is a cyclic life. If they don't do this, so the age factor, the ability to swim, and we have to stop some things. You go through the classification, I know about the classification. I know it so well. I got trained on it. And in swimming, it's just like, this cannot be possible. This cannot be possible. It has not been what we have been doing. So we are looking for a freshness. So my career is focused on that. And on the IOC, ethic and integrity, we talk about the compliances of Nigeria, the anti-doping, the judgmental part of what I know. So if you use a drug, is this particular drug okay? Yes, all drugs are okay, but at a particular time, they are not necessarily. We don't need you to use that. And why can't you? There are other things that you can do. You can be given the ability to use a particular drug, but the time you use it is is important to me. So we talk about all those things. So that is where my career is.
They're quite beautiful, we always love people like this that they are giving back to the society, and of course that's quite beautiful. Our time is not really on our side today, but there's no way that we won't talk about the things that you're very much involved in. When we're having a background discussion earlier, you talked about rules and all those things. I would like you to quickly talk about that.
Yeah, you talked about every sport, and I will be happy to see more Nigerians at the international federations. And not that you are sitting on there, is that you are able to play a good game there. Because you see, when you're talking about policies is between political side and professional side. We are bringing it into professional stage, but we need to know that it's just in politics, because it is an idea. This is what I want to do. This is my policies. Distributive is what we are giving, because we are consumers, and we need to play the game of being the consumer and the producer, giver. And if you don't do that, it will be difficult to now say you want to abide by a rules and regulation when you have not done your policies well. So policies is what we feed on in sport. Once you know the policies, the responsibilities of each individual will be easier. And in games, in sport, if you don't know that, it will be difficult. For example, I heard when you're talking about transgender, you need to know, is transgender allowed in your sport? If it is allowed, what have you been doing? What have you been? But I know transgender is not allowed. Look at, is it transgender you know about? What about those athletes that they have high red blood cells? They have high levels, and they can say they dope. But it's not that they dope, it's that they produce it naturally, but it's not allowed. They have to reduce it. Do you know about that? So all those things, they come into play.
All right.
In sports.
I think what we're going to do now is that we'll pause this discussion. We'll continue just after the news, because we just have to take the news on top of the hour. So immediately after the news, we'll round up our discussion. Thank you for still staying with us.
Thank you for bringing me here.
All right, you're still watching AM Sports, coming to you from Enter Sports 24. Tell us Bayima will be back. We'll be here on top of the hour to present us the AM news. And afterwards, we're going to continue our discussion with Bose Kaffo. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the news. You're still watching AM Sports, coming to you from Enter Sports 24. And of course, I still have with me in the studio now Bose Kaffo, and of course, we're continuing our discussion. Yeah. And of course, welcome back. Yes. We are supposed to take the news, and of course, we were talking about issues around
the transgender,
and especially that one. So I would like you to continue from that.
First, we need to understand why people are so concerned about transgender, and you want to know why is the International Olympic Committee really trying to allow them, because we have in the International Olympic Committee, we have something called eligibility and inclusion and fairness. When you have all those ones, you need to understand that is why being on an international body board is very important, so that you can educate your own people about it. And when we talk about transgender, it is about what somebody declares himself or herself to be at a point of participation. So if you declare yourself as a woman, and people see you, you have all these manhoods, everything, you will go through a test. And in that test, if they found out that you don't have enough of a male
testosterone,
symptoms like testosterone, all those things, you might be pushed into that. But they know that if you are coming from being a male to a female, you will need testosterone to function.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have more than that, you'll be tested. You'll be eligible to participate. So we need to actually, we at the integrity and ethic, we're actually trying to push it out that we want people to participate as you were from the birth. But what is happening now is that if you go through the International Olympic Committee's rules and regulation and all those WADA, that is the anti-doping page, you will realize that the case for inclusion is important and the case for fairness is debatable, because you have to be fair to people. You want them to participate. The main thing is the participant to be huge. The main thing is the sport to be pronounced, to be accepted, to bring in people. Inclusion, it includes the disability. You want every look, everybody to be able to participate in sport. So transgender is another case. But you don't look at people who say they are transgender-like. You also look at people who are developing hormones that can actually enhance performance.
Okay.
The fairness in it is we don't want something that will enhance your performance more than necessary. So,
what of the case of Caspar Semenya, that said she was not going to take hormone reducing medication?
Of course, our case was actually, when we look at it in 2021, it was interesting. And then the other athletes say they cannot participate with her because
she has an edge.
She has an edge because she was producing more hormone that could inhibit the doping, the performance. So if she says she cannot reduce it, we will say, why would she reduce it? Is it not doping if you try to use something to reduce or increase performance? So it was a case that she would need to decide, but the IOC decided, the athletics body decided that she must be using an hormone to reduce her case. And when she used it sometimes, she couldn't perform. And so what are we doing to her? Are we talking about fairness here?
So it's an elaborate topic. So how do we do it? Is it that now we should create like another agenda? So, okay, maybe you can compete in the male category, female category, and of course, maybe they now say category C. Maybe that's where they have to put all these people. Yep. Because looking at the case at the Olympics, there was a lady that started crying that she has never been beaten that way in her life. That it's only a man that can beat you that way, because those punches, because no matter the amount of medication you're being given, that you're transitioning from a man to a woman, it won't reduce all those bones that have been built, all your muscles, and there's still a way that if you get a slap from a man, you know that it's a man that
No,
just slapped you.
well, we can say that, but one thing is, let us give that kudos to the international body. For they to have allowed the athletes to box means that she qualified.
They tested her.
Yes, she qualified. So when we're talking about now the physiological part, the impact of that, yes, we might talk.
Because the whole world now, they've been shouting cheating.
Is the whole world shouting cheating? But she was tested.
So that brings to question the issue of, do you think, because let me bring a case. In football, they felt that countries were cheating. You go and bring somebody that's 35, he will shave his beard, use shaving powder early in the morning, and say, see, I'm under 18. And you're like, this guy, we went to university together now. That was like, 20 years ago. How is this guy claiming 22 now? It's not possible. At that time, it was like 25. But MRI scan solved the problem, and it's generally acceptable. Although we still know that is not the perfect thing, because they can rule out the like twins. The twin, maybe Peter is allowed to compete. They say Peter is under 17, and the same MRI comes and tells you that Paul is over 17. But it's still very close, and we've been able to achieve a bit of consistency when it comes to that. And nobody has been coming out to shout MRI is a scam. But this issue of normal to test your level of testosterone and everything, now people still have issues with that, because they are saying, no, this person that beat me, this person is not a woman like me. You understand? There are still issues. Many even said it was because, Casper was from Africa. That was why they couldn't fight her case. Is there no way we can find a solution that would be good for everyone?
The solution that would be, there is a solution already, and that is fairness. So the fairness is to allow people to participate, and you look at the cases and see whether one case is different to the other. And when you go through certain things, the test, and people judge about it, and the committee on that particular board allows a particular thing, it will be allowed. For example, you're talking about age cheat. Age cheat is what you feel in your mind. Age cheat. But if you have athletes that are better, what is age cheat? So what sport do you have that you have to do age cheat? Do you want to do it in table tennis? You are on your own. You want to do it in athletics? It will be for a time, because in performance, you see, there is performance and time, performance and age, performance and width and body and everything. So at a particular time, I am not bothered about age. When I have to take you to the lab, or if I have to do some tests on you, I'll say, okay, this is how far you can go. All I need to do is to bring up somebody that can compete with your ability, with what you have. So that is why the MRI is just to soften a level, but it is not a particular problem that somebody like me will want to cry on. And when you look at the fairness case, that is where I am bothered, because there is one thing that we know is therapeutic use exemption. And if you have people using that as an advantage, and we will know, the ethic and integrity officers know that these things, there are lots of people using that as an advantage. So why can't you have your own athletes that you could deprive to say they are doing this, they are doing that? Why can't you have someone to look at the case, and you will judge that, okay, at this stage we can have this particular drug? There are a lot of athletes that have to take some things. You have to take a drug at a particular time. It will be above a time, and it will jump to being
doping. Yeah.
So, but it could jump there and be like exemption. So if you have those that are giving the exemptionary part of it, so you will say How come this one is doing that? For example, you call somebody a transgender, and then okay, they accept him. You think okay, he's paying, but you need to look at the testosterone level. You look at the drug they are taking, because is it change of sex, or they have hormones that they are inhibiting. You need to understand it. You need to know it. It is like a plot. That, okay, I know this person is coming. I want to know what is happening. Okay, he's doing this. Let me know the level of the testosterone, because I know they will need it. So you need somebody in your team that will be doing that. You are talking about the South African athletes. Why can't she went to the court of arbitration in 2021, and a case, we looked at it and we found out that there is no way, if the other athletes are saying that you are producing testosterone more than the female, more than necessary, so meaning that you need to reduce it, and in order for you to reduce it is to take a drug. So our case was taking a drug at that level. Isn't it like antidote? Isn't it like doping?
Yeah.
But the main goal was for her to reduce her level
so
of
that there'll be fair play.
So
they'll
that
be able to compete
fair,
on it.
yes, there'll be fair play.
On a level playing
so
ground.
this is the level where we need people on the board in different sports to understand, and so that when they come back, they'll be able to give that thing education about what is happening to the body of the athletes. It's not about the performance alone. You can train an athlete. The athlete is at the top. Then one athlete can come, like one from India. She's running 200 meters, and they found out that she was so good that she was producing an hormone that is enhancing her performance. And they can't do anything to it. It is because it is from her body. She was not using it. So if you want to train an athlete against her, you need somebody that could know. It goes beyond just talking about it.
It's complicated.
It is, for me, it's not complicated. It's just a dedicated work. If you really want to win medal right now in the Olympics, it's not that you jump to it.
It's a long process.
You need to work hard for it. It's not how long you have been in the sport. You can be in the sport, and at the peak of you winning, and somebody will just come out and the sport is shown.
It's quite unfortunate that we're running out of time, but I don't know if we can do it in just about 30 seconds. How do we check this issue of Nigerian athletes testing positive? At international competitions, it's becoming embarrassing.
It is the medical. I know some of those people in the IOS, in the NOC, and the medical. They are really trying. So what we need to do is there is no way they have not been doing the sensitization of athletes, of performance. But you need to do more of it. You need to really measure the athletes. You need to follow them. You need to know the athletes you want to invite. You need to know when they are training, when they are doing the trials. You have to be there after the trials, what they have to do. When an athlete signed to be competing for the nation, you will be a police to the athletes. That is our job. You be a police to the athletes. You are not going anywhere without me knowing. You are not hitting anything unnecessary. You are not doing this. So when they sign that paper with you, that is what they sign for. I will police you. I don't want you to spoil my job. I've spent this amount of money, and I want you to win this medal for me. So in order for you to do that, I have to be on your neck. At that time, there must be more monitoring. There must be a strict movement to the athletes, and that should be done very close to the game and even before the game.
All right, quite beautiful. We've benefited a lot from your wealth of experience today. Thank you for coming on the AM Sports today.
Thank you for hosting.
All right, quite beautiful. We've been speaking with Bose Kaffo, and of course, this woman is now all, anything sports now, just come to her. And of course, she's a 5-time Olympian, so put some respect on her name. All right, she's doing so well for Nigeria, and of course, representing Africa and the world over, doing a lot, especially as a sports scientist. That's our show today. We want to thank you for hanging out with us. And of course, I want to thank you on behalf of the director, the producer, the transmission director, the audio person, and of course, our team of engineers, including the cameraman. And of course, let's do it together on Thursday. By that time, we'll be reviewing all the results we're going to get in the APL today and some other interesting things. See you and have a nice day.